Have you ever wondered why you feel empty the moment people stop giving you attention? Why the silence feels heavy and your mind starts searching for someone, anyone, to fill it? In that quiet moment, it feels like you are losing something. But what if you are actually being shown something? Here is the truth most never confront. What you call love may simply be your fear of being nothing without someone. What you cling to controls you. Look at your own life. How often does your peace depend on others? In this video, you'll discover how to stop needing people and build yourself in silence. Your doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless insight. Stay until the end for a powerful bonus lesson, because once you see this truth, you cannot unsee it. Attachment is fear wearing love. Why does your chest tighten when someone grows distant? What is it inside you that begins to panic? You call it love. But look closer. It often feels like fear, wearing the mask of affection. Clinging is not connection. It is quiet desperation. You reach, not because your heart is full, but because something inside feels empty. And in that reaching, you slowly abandon yourself. Tell me, are you loving them or escaping yourself through them? There is a silent truth many avoid. The more you need someone to stay, the more power you give them over your peace. Your mood begins to depend on their presence, your worth on their attention, and when they pull away, even slightly, your mind trembles. This is not love. This is attachment rooted in fear. The fear of standing alone with your own thoughts. So ask yourself gently, what part of you is afraid of being alone? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself standing in a vast, open field. No voices, no hands to hold. No one to validate you. Just you and your breath. Notice this. Your heart still beats. Your lungs still rise and fall. Life has not left you. You are still here. You were always here. Beneath all the noise of needing others, there is a quiet strength that has been waiting to be seen. If they disappeared tomorrow, what would remain of you? A wise teacher once said, "What you depend on controls you. What you release sets you free. When you cling, you lose your center. But when you stand alone, you begin to meet your true self." This is where real life begins, not in the presence of others, but in the absence of dependency. It is here that you stop chasing and start becoming. So, begin in silence. Sit with your discomfort instead of escaping it. Watch your fears instead of obeying them. Build a mind that does not beg for attention, but rests in its own presence. Because the day you stop needing people to complete you is the day you stop losing yourself. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I become self-sufficient." 2. Silence is your true power. Why do you feel the need to explain your silence? As if your peace requires permission. Notice the impulse. It rises quickly, almost like fear. The moment you step back, a voice inside whispers, "Say something. Justify this. Don't let them misunderstand." But look deeper. Who are you trying to protect? The truth or the image others hold of you? Power grows where noise disappears. So ask yourself, why does your silence feel like guilt instead of strength? There is a quiet conditioning you have carried for years. You were taught that distance needs explanation, that withdrawal is rude, that silence means something is wrong. So you learn to over-explain, overshare, overgive, and in doing so, you slowly drained your own energy. Every unnecessary word became a small leak in your inner reservoir. But a mountain never explains its stillness. It does not send signals to the storm. It simply stands, and the storm passes. What would happen if you stopped announcing your every move? Close your eyes and picture this. You step back, not in anger, not in fear, but in clarity. No long messages, no rehearsed justifications, just silence. At first, it feels uncomfortable, unfamiliar. But stay there. Feel your energy slowly returning. Like a tide reversing its flow, the attention you once scattered begins to gather within you. Your thoughts become clearer. Your breath becomes deeper. In this space, you are no longer reacting. You are reclaiming. Who could you become if you protected your energy this way? A quiet truth reveals itself here. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not every situation requires your voice. Sometimes, the most powerful response is absence. Not as punishment, but as alignment. When you stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, something shifts. You stop shrinking. You stop performing. You begin to stand in your truth without needing approval. So ask yourself honestly, who taught you that you must always explain yourself? A wise teaching says, silence is not empty, it is full of answers. In silence, you meet your real strength. Not the loud, reactive strength that seeks validation, but the grounded strength that needs nothing. Begin to practice this. Step back without drama. Withdraw without guilt. Let your actions speak, or let your absence do it for you, because the moment you stop explaining your silence is the moment your presence begins to carry weight. 3. The void is not empty. Why does stillness feel so heavy, almost unbearable when everything becomes quiet? The moment there is nothing to distract you, something inside begins to stir. You reach for your phone, for noise, for anything that fills the space. But pause for a moment. What are you truly running from? That which you avoid within will rule you from the shadows. So ask yourself gently, is it emptiness you fear, or the truths hidden inside it? You have been taught to believe that the void is a problem, something to escape, something to fix. But the truth is more unsettling and more liberating. The void is not empty. It is a space filled with unspoken thoughts, buried emotions, and parts of yourself you have long ignored. Like a dark cave, it does not threaten you, it reveals you, and the longer you avoid entering it, the more power it quietly holds over your life. What if this emptiness is not your enemy, but your teacher? Sit with it now. No distractions, no movement, just you and the silence. At first, discomfort rises, restlessness, unease, maybe even fear. Do not fight it, do not label it. Just watch. Like clouds passing through an open sky, these feelings come and they go. And something unexpected begins to happen. The intensity softens, the noise loses its grip. You realize you are not the discomfort. You are the one observing it. Can you stay here without escaping? There is a turning point hidden in this practice. Most people spend their lives running from themselves, filling every quiet moment so they never have to face what lies within. But those who choose to sit in stillness begin to reclaim their mind. They stop reacting to every emotion. They stop being controlled by unseen fears. Instead, they become aware, and in awareness, there is freedom. So ask yourself honestly, what are you avoiding every time you distract yourself? A quiet teaching reminds us, you were never empty. You were simply unobserved. The void you feel is not a lack. It is a doorway into clarity, strength, and deep inner peace. Enter it slowly. Sit with yourself daily, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because the moment you stop running from the silence within is the moment you begin to understand who you truly are. 4. Loneliness reveals your true self. Why does being alone feel like something is missing, as if a part of you has been taken away? The room is quiet, your phone is still, and suddenly there is a weight you cannot explain. You call it loneliness. But look deeper. Is it truly absence? Or is it the unfamiliar presence of yourself? Solitude does not take from you, it returns you to yourself. So, ask honestly, are you afraid of being alone or of meeting who you really are? For a long time, You have defined yourself through others, their reactions, their attention, their approval. Without them, you feel undefined, almost invisible. But this is where the deeper truth begins to unfold. When all distractions fall away, when no one is watching, performing becomes impossible. What remains is raw, unfiltered, real. Like a mirror placed in a silent room, loneliness reflects you exactly as you are, without distortion, without applause. Who are you in that reflection? Close your eyes and imagine sitting beside a calm lake. The surface is still, untouched by wind. You look down, and for the first time, you see clearly. No noise, no expectations, no roles to play, just truth. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, because truth often does. You may notice parts of yourself you have avoided, doubts, insecurities, hidden desires. But do not turn away, stay with it. Because within that discomfort lies clarity. What have you been avoiding discovering about yourself? There is a quiet shift that happens when you stop escaping loneliness. It transforms. What once felt like emptiness begins to feel like space. Space to think, space to grow, space to rebuild yourself without influence. This is where identity is not borrowed, but created. Slowly, you begin to trust your own voice. You no longer seek constant validation because you have met the one person you were always searching for. You. A gentle teaching reminds us, when you stop running from yourself, you arrive where you always belonged. Loneliness is not your enemy. It is a doorway, a return. Sit with it, not as a burden, but as a guide. Let it show you who you are beneath all the noise. Because the moment you stop fearing your own company is the moment you begin to discover your true self. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I become self-sufficient." 5. Independence purifies connection. Why do your relationships sometimes feel heavy, as if love has become a quiet burden you carry? You give, you wait, you expect, and somewhere in between, exhaustion begins to grow. What once felt warm now feels demanding. Pause here. Ask yourself with honesty, are you loving freely, or are you silently asking to be filled? When you need nothing, you can finally give everything. So reflect, are you giving love, or are you negotiating for it? There is a subtle trap hidden inside most connections. You begin with openness, but slowly, expectations take root. You want consistency, reassurance, attention, and when these are not met, frustration appears. Not because love is absent, but because dependency has taken its place. This is where love becomes heavy. It is no longer a gift, it becomes a transaction, and transactions always carry weight. Do your relationships feel like freedom or obligation? Picture this quietly. You are holding sand in your palm. If you grip it tightly, it slips through your fingers. If you hold it gently, it remains. This is the nature of connection. The tighter you cling, the faster it fades. But when you loosen your hold, when you release the need to control, something changes. The connection breathes, it becomes light again. Can you feel the difference between holding and clinging? True independence does not mean isolation. It means your inner state is not dependent on another's presence. You are steady within yourself. You do not collapse when someone pulls away, and you do not chase to fill the silence. Instead, you stand grounded. From this place, your love becomes clean, without pressure, without hidden demands. You give because you are full, not because you are empty. And this is where connection becomes pure. What changes when you stop needing anything in return? A quiet teaching reminds us, attachment binds, but presence frees. When you release the need to be completed by someone else, you stop placing weight on their shoulders. You allow them to be, just as you allow yourself to be. And in this space, something rare is born. Connection without fear. So begin this shift gently. Notice where you expect. Notice where you hold too tightly. And slowly learn to open your hands. Because the moment you stop needing others to sustain you is the moment your love becomes something they can truly feel, light, free, and real. 6. Stop chasing, start allowing. Why does everything feel heavier the more you try to control it? The tighter you hold your plans, your relationships, your outcomes, the more resistance you feel. You push harder, think more, chase faster. And yet, life seems to move further away from you. Pause here. Look closely. Is your effort creating flow or creating tension? What you chase runs, what you allow comes. So ask yourself quietly, where in your life are you forcing what should be unfolding? There is a subtle illusion in control. It makes you feel safe, as if every detail must be managed to avoid loss or disappointment. But in truth, control is often fear-wearing discipline. You try to predict, to secure, to guarantee. And when life refuses to obey, frustration grows. This is where suffering begins. Not because life is difficult, but because you are resisting its natural movement. Can you see how your grip may be the very thing blocking your peace? Imagine yourself as a river. You do not push the water forward. You do not argue with rocks in your path. You simply flow. Around obstacles, through narrow spaces, across open land, you move without force. There is effort, but not struggle, direction, but not tension. Sit with this image. Feel the difference between forcing and flowing. What would change if you allowed your life to move this way? This does not mean you stop acting. It means you stop clinging to outcomes. You still take steps, but without desperation. You still care, but without fear of loss. When you release the need to control how everything unfolds, your mind becomes lighter. You begin to trust timing, to accept uncertainty, to adapt instead of resist. And in that openness, opportunities begin to appear, quietly, naturally. What would happen if you let go, just a little? A deeper truth reveals itself here. The more you chase validation, success, or even love, the more distant it feels. But when you become steady within yourself, when you stop reaching outward in desperation, something shifts. You become magnetic, not because you are trying to attract, but because you are no longer resisting what is already meant for you. Can you trust life without trying to control every step? A quiet teaching reminds us the river does not force its way to the ocean, it trusts the path. Begin here. Release one expectation today. Loosen your grip on one outcome. Allow space for life to move. Because the moment you stop chasing everything outside of you is the moment everything begins to find its way toward you. 7. Expectations create silent suffering. Why do people disappoint you, even when they have done nothing wrong? You feel a quiet hurt, a subtle frustration, as if something was taken from you. But look closely. What exactly did they take? Or what did you silently expect them to give? Expectation is a contract others never signed. So pause here and ask yourself, are you reacting to reality or to a story you created in your mind? There is a hidden weight in expectations. You expect them to understand without explanation, to respond in certain ways, to meet needs you never clearly expressed. And when they don't, disappointment rises, not because they failed you, but because reality refused to match your imagination. This is how silent suffering begins. You build a house in the air, and when it collapses, you feel betrayed. But was it ever real to begin with? What expectations are you placing on others right now? Sit quietly for a moment, and imagine invisible strings tied from your heart to the people in your life. Each string carries a demand. Be this way. Act this way. Don't change. Don't leave. Now, slowly begin to release them, one by one. Watch as those people move freely, no longer bound by your unseen conditions. And notice something unexpected. You feel lighter, not because you lost control, but because you released the need for it. What happens when you stop holding others to expectations they never agreed to? This is where love begins to transform. When you drop expectations, you begin to see people as they are, not as you want them to be. You stop measuring their actions against your internal checklist. You stop feeling constantly let down. Instead, you experience what is real, unfiltered, imperfect, but honest. And in that honesty, there is peace. So ask yourself deeply, are you loving reality or your idea of it? A quiet teaching reminds us, peace comes not from getting what you expect, but from accepting what is. This does not mean you tolerate everything. It means you release the illusion that others must behave according to your inner script. You take responsibility for your own feelings instead of placing that burden on them. And in doing so, you reclaim your calm. Begin this practice gently. Notice one expectation today and let it go. Watch how your mind reacts, then return to stillness. Because the moment you stop expecting others to complete your inner world is the moment your suffering begins to dissolve. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, I become self-sufficient. 8. Detachment brings clarity. Why does everything feel so confusing when you are deeply involved? The more you think, the more tangled it becomes. You replay conversations, analyze every word, search for meaning behind every action, and still, clarity slips away. Pause for a moment. Is the confusion coming from the situation or from your attachment to it? When you step back, truth steps forward. So ask yourself quietly, what would you see if you were not so emotionally entangled? When you are attached, you do not see clearly. You see through emotion, fear, desire, expectation. They color everything. A simple silence feels like rejection. A delayed response feels like distance. You begin to interpret, to assume, to react. But these reactions are not truth. They are projections. Like muddy water stirred again and again, your mind cannot settle, and in that constant disturbance, clarity has no space to appear. Where are your emotions clouding your judgment right now? Picture a glass of muddy water placed on a table. If you keep shaking it, it remains cloudy. But if you leave it undisturbed, something quiet happens. Slowly, without effort, the dirt settles. The water becomes clear again. This is how your mind works. You do not force clarity. You allow it. Sit back. Breathe. Stop interfering with every thought. Let your emotions settle on their own. Can you watch your mind without reacting to it? Detachment is not coldness. It is not distance from life. It is distance from distortion. It is the ability to observe without immediately becoming involved. When you step back, you are no longer controlled by every feeling that arises. You begin to see patterns, truths, and realities that were hidden before. Decisions become easier. Reactions become slower, and peace begins to replace confusion. What changes when you stop reacting and start observing? There is a deeper shift here, one many overlook. When you detach, you stop trying to control outcomes, you stop forcing answers, and in that stillness, truth reveals itself naturally. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, clearly, like a reflection appearing on calm water. A gentle teaching reminds us, clarity does not come from chasing answers, but from quieting the mind. Begin this practice today. Step back from one situation that feels overwhelming. Do not rush to fix it. Do not rush to understand it. Just observe. Because the moment you create space between you and your emotions is the moment truth begins to find you. 9. Build yourself quietly. Why do you feel the urge to show your progress, to let others know you are improving, healing, becoming stronger? Notice the pull. It is subtle, but persistent. You want to be seen, acknowledged, validated. But pause here. Ask yourself honestly, are you growing or are you performing growth? The seed grows in darkness, not in applause. So, reflect. Who are you becoming when no one is watching? There is a quiet danger in seeking recognition too early. The moment you announce your intentions, your mind begins to chase approval instead of discipline. You share your plans, your habits, your small victories, and for a moment, it feels good. But that feeling can replace the real work. You begin to feed on attention rather than effort, and slowly, growth becomes performance. Why do you need others to witness your journey for it to feel real? Imagine yourself as a tree, not the branches reaching toward the sky, but the roots buried deep in the earth. No one sees them, no one praises them, yet they are the foundation of everything. In silence, they spread, strengthen, anchor. Sit with this image. Feel the quiet power of growing without being noticed. This is where true strength is built, not in visibility, but in consistency. What could you achieve if no one ever saw your progress? There is a deeper truth hidden here. When you build yourself quietly, you remove distraction. You stop comparing. You stop explaining. Your energy is no longer scattered outward. It is directed inward. You become focused, disciplined, steady, and over time, your results begin to speak for you. Not loudly, not suddenly, but undeniably. So ask yourself, what happens when your actions matter more than your words? A gentle teaching reminds us, work in silence and let your life reveal your effort. This is not about hiding. It is about protecting your growth from unnecessary noise. Not every step needs to be shared. Not every change needs to be announced. Some transformations are sacred, meant to be nurtured in stillness. Begin this practice today. Do one thing that moves you forward and tell no one. Build one habit without seeking praise. Strengthen your mind in ways only you can feel. Because the moment you stop needing recognition for your growth is the moment your growth becomes real, deep, and unshakable. 10. Freedom begins within. Why does your peace rise and fall with the world around you? A message changes your mood. A delay creates tension. Someone's words linger in your mind long after they are spoken. You say, "This disturbed me," but look closer. You are not disturbed by the world, but by your attachment to it. So ask yourself quietly, what are you holding on to that is holding you in return? There is a subtle dependence hidden in daily life. You attach your calm to outcomes, your happiness to people, your stability to certainty. And when these shift, as they always do, you feel shaken. Not because life is unstable, but because you placed your center outside yourself. This is how control is lost. You begin to react instead of remain. So, reflect honestly. What external things are controlling your peace right now? Close your eyes and imagine the sky. Vast, open, untouched. Now see the clouds, some dark, some bright, moving across it. These are your emotions, your situations, your changing experiences. Notice this truth. The sky does not resist the clouds. It does not push them away. It allows them and stays unchanged beneath them. Sit with this image. Feel your own vastness. Can you watch your emotions like passing clouds without becoming them? Freedom begins in this understanding. You are not your reactions. You are not your passing feelings. Beneath them, there is something steady, something unmoved. But to reach it, you must loosen your attachments, not by rejecting the world, but by no longer depending on it for your inner state. When you stop needing everything to go your way, peace begins to settle within you. Who would you be if your calm did not depend on anything outside you? There is a turning point here. Most people spend their lives trying to control the outside, seeking the right people, the right outcomes, the right conditions. But the deeper path is different. It is not about controlling the world, it is about mastering your response to it. And in that mastery, a quiet freedom appears, one that cannot be taken away. Can you remain steady even when life is uncertain? A gentle teaching reminds us, the one who is rooted within is never lost outside. Begin here. Notice one moment today when your peace is disturbed. Instead of reacting, step back, observe, let it pass. Because the moment you stop giving the world control over your inner state is the moment your true freedom begins. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I become self-sufficient." 11. Mindfulness ends suffering. Why does your mind keep leaving the present, drifting into worries that have not happened, or returning to moments that are already gone? Notice how quickly it escapes. One thought leads to another, and suddenly you are no longer here. You are somewhere in the past, or somewhere in the future. And in that absence, unease begins to grow. Peace exists only where your attention is. So ask yourself gently, where is your mind living right now? There is a quiet pattern you repeat every day. You revisit old conversations, replay mistakes, imagine different outcomes. Or you project forward, thinking about what could go wrong, what might not work, what you might lose. This movement feels automatic, almost beyond control. But look deeper. Is this thinking solving anything? Or is it feeding your restlessness? What are you avoiding by not being present? Now pause. Bring your attention to your breath. Slow it down. Feel the air enter and leave. Nothing else matters in this moment. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. Just this simple rhythm of life moving through you. Like a candle flame in darkness, your awareness begins to light up the present. The more you stay with it, the calmer everything becomes. The noise softens, the tension loosens. Can you stay here, even for a few seconds without drifting away? Mindfulness is not complicated. It is a return from the chaos of thought to the simplicity of now. And in this return, something profound happens. The problems created by your mind begin to fade, not because they are fixed, but because you are no longer lost inside them. You begin to see clearly. You respond instead of react. You experience life as it is, not as your thoughts distort it. What changes when you are fully here? There is a deeper truth hidden in this practice. Most suffering does not come from reality, it comes from resisting it, and resistance lives in thought, not in the present moment. When you anchor yourself in now, suffering loses its foundation. You are no longer fighting what is, you are simply aware of it. And in awareness, there is peace. A quiet teaching reminds us, the present moment is the only place where life truly exists. Begin here. Return to your breath whenever your mind wanders. Notice without judgment. Gently bring yourself back, again and again, because the moment you fully arrive in the present is the moment your suffering begins to end. Bonus: let go and life aligns. Why does life begin to feel lighter the moment you stop trying so hard to control it? You push, you plan, you overthink every step. And yet, things resist you. But then, in rare moments when you let go, something shifts. The tension fades, the path clears, and you wonder, why does ease come only when effort softens? When you release control, life reveals its intelligence. So ask yourself quietly, what are you still holding on to so tightly that it is holding you back? There is a deep misunderstanding about surrender. You think it means giving up, losing direction, becoming passive. But true surrender is not weakness, it is trust. It is the quiet strength to accept what you cannot control and to move with life instead of against it. Like a leaf carried by the wind, you are not lost, you are guided. But as long as you resist the current, you will feel stuck. What if letting go is not failure, but alignment? Imagine yourself floating on calm water. No struggle, no force. Your body is supported, carried, moved without effort. Feel that softness, that ease. This is what happens when you stop resisting life. The energy you once used to control everything begins to return to you. Your mind becomes clear. Your actions become simple, natural. You no longer fight every moment. You begin to flow through it. Can you allow yourself to trust life this way? There is a turning point hidden here. Most people exhaust themselves trying to shape life into their expectations. They hold tightly to outcomes, fearing uncertainty. But the more they hold, the more life feels rigid and heavy. Those who learn to release, however, begin to notice something different. Opportunities appear without force. Solutions arise without pressure. Life begins to cooperate, not because it changed, but because they did. What would happen if you stopped forcing everything to happen your way? A gentle teaching reminds us, let go, and what is meant for you will not pass you. This does not mean you stop acting, it means you stop clinging. You still walk your path, but without fear of where it leads. You still care, but without needing to control the outcome. And in that space, something profound emerges. Peace without conditions. So begin here. Loosen your grip on one thing you cannot control. Let it be quick. Summary of principles. Attachment is not love. It is the fear of being alone, disguised as connection. When you depend on others for emotional stability, you lose your inner ground. True love begins when need disappears. Freedom starts when you stop seeking wholeness outside yourself. Silence is not weakness. It is self-respect in its purest form. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Real power grows quietly. The emptiness you feel is not a flaw, it is a signal. It reveals what you've been avoiding within. Sitting with it builds emotional strength. Escaping it keeps you dependent. Loneliness is not punishment. It is exposure to your true self. Without distractions, your identity becomes clear. This is where real transformation begins. Most people run before reaching this truth. Emotional independence does not make you cold. It makes you clear. You stop expecting and start accepting. Relationships become lighter and more genuine. You love without losing yourself. Chasing creates resistance, while allowing creates flow. When you stop forcing outcomes, life unfolds naturally. Control is often the root of stress. Trust creates alignment. Expectations silently create suffering. People fail not because they are wrong, but because your mind imagines something else. Releasing expectations brings peace. Acceptance brings clarity. Detachment sharpens perception. When emotions settle, truth becomes visible. Stepping back gives perspective. Clarity comes from stillness, not reaction. Growth does not need validation. Real transformation happens in private. When you stop performing, you start evolving. Silence strengthens discipline. External control is an illusion. Your peace should not depend on circumstances. Stability comes from within. Inner control is true freedom. Mindfulness anchors you in reality. Most suffering comes from past and future thinking. Presence dissolves anxiety. Awareness restores peace. Letting go is not losing, it is aligning. When you release attachment, life moves with ease. Resistance blocks flow. Surrender opens the path forward. There comes a silent turning point. When you realize that your suffering was never caused by the world, but by your need for it to complete you. The moment you stop searching for validation, something extraordinary happens. Your mind becomes still, your heart becomes lighter, and your life begins to unfold without force. This is the paradox most never understand. The less you need, the more you receive. The less you chase, the more life aligns. In the absence of desire, the mind finds its true home. Zen philosophy teaches us that nothing is missing in this moment, only the illusion that something is. When you let go of needing people, approval, or outcomes, you don't become empty, you become free. And in that freedom, you finally meet life as it is. Peaceful, complete, and whole. So, reflect deeply. If you stopped needing anything from anyone, who would you become? If this resonated with you, take a moment to like and share this video. Share your thoughts in the comments for more powerful Buddhist insights on living a truly peaceful life.